And yes, this is Linda Talaferro from the T, the Extra Effort. It is Being Brown at Work Live. And as I always say, if I don't say it, you guys remind me, or you ask me, why didn't you say it? It is my favorite time of the week because it is Tuesday, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. And you know, I get beyond excited when I have the honor of having a fabulous, phenomenal woman as a guest. And I've got another one. I got another one. Guys, I'm so blessed. I know I say this all the time, but I feel so blessed, seriously, that these women that I either follow, like this fabulous woman, which you're going to meet in a few minutes, that I follow on a regular basis, learn so much from, have them in my network. And then when I reach out, they say yes. And Miss Lucretia Davis said yes. And I'm telling you, this will be yet another invaluable session. So you want to get your pen, pencils. If you're live, keep up with us. You may want to catch it on the replay. If you're catching this on the replay, you can play it back and keep the notes up because you're going to want information from this phenomenal woman. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Lucretia Davis, who is a business mentor and LinkedIn marketing expert, helping coaches and experts launch profitable LinkedIn brands. In 2017, Lucretia was let go from her high paying corporate job and decided not to return and give full time entrepreneurship a try. And let me tell you, that she's been phenomenally successful, beyond successful at it. So, very good decision that pivot was. She was able to build two, not one, two six-figure brands on LinkedIn. Lucretia has been featured in, okay, now check this out, Forbes, Newsweek, and Rolling Out magazine. She holds a bachelor and master's degree in business. Lucretia, welcome to Being Brown at Work Live.
Thank you so much for having me. You are so kind. I love your intro. Thank you.
Right, well, it's easy. It's easy with guests like you because when I reached out to you, you said yes. You were even in a business meeting, came out, had the discovery call with me. I am beyond honored. I'm beyond honored to have you here. And when we were having that discovery call, we talked about a lot of wonderful things you could share with my audience, and we landed on what I know is still a challenge for people to clearly understand and then to develop, and that is personal branding. And
Yes.
since you are the market leader in it, and especially featured on LinkedIn, who else would be a better person to speak to this topic? So let's just dive in. And I'm going to start with the basic question, but in essence, it's really not so basic because I think it's really crucial to get this clarity and remove all the ambiguity around personal branding. So,
Mhm.
what is a personal brand, Lucretia? And is there a difference between a personal one and a professional one?
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually the definition I was going to give you. Your personal brand is your brand that is separate from the employer that you may be attached to.
Mm,
Everyone has a brand. Everyone has a brand, whether you are intentionally building one or not, right? So your brand is how you are perceived by others.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How you're perceived by others. So, given that definition, you control that narrative, that perception,
Yes, you
right?
do. You absolutely
Aha.
100%. You control the narrative for sure.
And if you don't
And
control it,
create, yeah. If you don't control, right, yeah. Go ahead. I didn't want
yeah.
to cut you off. I'm
No, no,
sorry.
no, no, fine. If you don't control it, then the exact opposite happens and you're labeled with something that is not you or not
Not
what
your
you
brand
right,
or
exactly.
not what you want to be perceived as.
Ah,
Mhm.
yes, 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 yes. So, given the description you just gave, Lucretia, let's kind of dig into that a little more.
Yeah.
So, it's how you want to be perceived.
Yes.
Do you think that just that alone is misunderstood on a consistent basis? I know I get a lot of questions around it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's misunderstood. I think when people think about a personal brand, they always relate it to building some type of business or marketing yourself, having some type
Mm,
of thing going on the side. You could be someone who has no intentions at all in building a business. You could be someone who has no intention at all with that. It's literally at your employer. It could boil down to your personal brand, you being the person who always likes to ask questions or is engaging, or someone who likes to, will go above and beyond, someone who is
mm.
friendly, someone who is, you know, has really good energy, someone who is just these different characteristics. So it doesn't always boil down to you having to monetize it or build a business.
Yes, yes. And that's great because most of my predominantly my audience are people still in the corporate space. We have some entrepreneurs as well, or people like myself who have both, wear both hats. And so I think it's extremely important for people to understand that. It's what how people perceive you, how you want to be viewed, how you
Yes.
want to be seen. And like you just said, are you approachable? Are you
Yeah.
friendly? Are you collaborative? Are
Mhm.
you that engaging person? Does the energy lift when you walk in the room?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you find yourself getting tapped for various different things in the organization that's giving you more visibility, it is likely of a brand that you're putting out there that's making a
Mm,
positive impression. If they're not really concerned about you, or I guess I shouldn't say it in that way, but you're not getting tapped for promotions or, different things. It may be that your brand is just the person who just does their job and isn't interested in these other things. It could be anything. Your brand is essentially how people view you.
perceive you. Yes. And I think that's why this topic was so important for me and to have you on as a guest because of your expertise, because I really wanted to make sure that it's clear that people understand the importance of it, right?
Mhm.
And how it ties to the trajectory of their careers, their success in within their careers, or if they happen to be persons that want to launch a business, being able to be successful in that manner too. Because just as you said, you could be known as somebody that just works hard. I know I was for years in my career, head down, worked hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? I was that person that kept head down and kept doing. I mean, I was never tapped,
Mhm.
right? I was, and I often wonder why are they asking me to lead that initiative, or why am I?
Probably don't
Because
know you're interested at all.
exactly because I wrote the narrative, head down, worked hard. That's
Exactly.
how
Go
they
home,
perceive me.
come back, show up, meet my
Boom.
metrics, do a great job, all of that, but
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And
Mm,
oh my gosh, that's why this is so good. Because I think people miss that. They
mhm,
miss it, right?
mhm.
And they're walking around with an attitude, angry, chip on the shoulder, trying to say, wait a minute, I'm here. How come you're not choosing me? Well, because your
Mhm.
brand,
Yeah.
how you have shown up and how we perceive you
Mm,
says you're not that person,
right, right,
right?
and understand that your brand can change as well. For
Mm,
me, I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I was in an organization where, I just really loved it in the beginning for the first couple of years, I would say. And I was so eager about the job, and it was the brand that I was putting out there. I was
yeah.
communicating when I had issues or otherwise. I would communicate. For the most part, I had a positive attitude. For the most part, I went above and beyond. I was very engaged in the different trainings that we had. I would volunteer for pilot teams and, different things like that. But then, and that created the perception that, oh, she's good. I see her potential. And they actually wanted to put me on a track to get a promotion, not a lateral promotion, but, you know,
Hmm.
a promotion. And so, things kind of changed when management changed, and
Mm.
that affected me personally because I felt as though things weren't going to change. and I
Yeah.
started to diminish my personal
Ah.
brand. And that promotion that they were talking about, it was kind of like, instead of it being, oh, you're going to do great, like we can't wait to do all these different things, then it's now we have to wait until some things improve or what have you with you.
Mm.
So your brand can change. So it's also about not just building a personal brand, but also making sure that you hold your brand near and dear and protect
Yes.
it, and you're consistent, with that brand.
Yes. Yes. The awareness and making sure you're tapped in and like you just said, being consistent with it. It
Hmm.
always being first and foremost in your mind that
Absolutely.
you're
Yes.
not, yes, you're not detracting, you're not backing up. You're actually, it's still in the right direction. Because we can lose sight of it. It's easy for that
You
to
can
I
lose
can see
sight
how
of
it could happen for you. You had management change, things
it.
look different. All of a
Yeah.
sudden you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Right?
Yeah, but your
Yeah.
brand is for you. When you leave an
Yes.
organization,
Yes.
you take you and your brand with you,
With you.
right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah,
Now that's powerful because we don't want to allow whatever negative and unfortunate or toxic
absolutely.
situations happen in the corporate space to identify us or
Mhm.
to become our
Absolutely.
person. Because I'm so glad you said that. Personal brand is for you.
It is for
You
you.
create it, you
It is
bring
for
it in, and if you depart, you take it with you.
absolutely. Yep.
Yes. I love that. I love that. So let me ask you this other question. Is this personal brand something that you can just create like that, or does it take some time to develop?
Well, I would say that it takes some time to develop, but I don't think it's
Mhm.
as deep as saying that it's going to take a year or 6 months, or, a time frame that's long like that. I think
Yeah.
it takes some time. It goes back to that consistency. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
people have to experience you in a certain way for a consistent amount of time in order for it to stick.
I got you.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And
In
so,
their
what
minds, in their minds.
yes, and there. Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
I got that in their mind. So, what I'd love to do because I think what would be so extremely helpful in these last 10 to 15 minutes that we have. I see this is, I tell you, I know, guys, I say this all
Wow,
the
that's
time.
it?
I know. See, that's what I'm saying, Lucretia. The time just blows by. We've already been chatting 15 minutes, sharing some nuggets. We do this for 30. It's going to be done. It's almost like it's unfair that time just flies so by.
Yeah.
But when we have wonderful guests like yourself, it's not unusual. It just blows by. We may have to revisit this. I've
I
had guests back
know. It's like,
again.
next time, let's get an hour. Let's
Yes,
do an hour
I've
next
had guests back again. So yes. Oh, you know what? Before we get into what I was going to go to, we did get a question popped up here on LinkedIn. Is
time.
there a difference between brand? Oh, great question. Is there a difference between brand and reputation?
Yeah. Ooh.
Good question.
That
Yeah.
is a really good question. You're gonna have to help me out with that one, quite honestly. A difference
Yeah.
between a brand and a reputation. I've heard them go hand in hand, brand, reputation. I've heard that, being used in that way. I do feel as though there's a difference, but I can't really. I need your help with that, Linda. What do you
Yeah,
think?
no, but I think the reason why the question came up is
Mhm.
because of your definition, right? It's how people perceive you.
Mhm.
And your reputation can precede you, right? You hear
Yeah.
that? Oh yeah, yes. But and it's
Yeah. That's a
yeah,
good.
you see, yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it's because of I think they are linked and they're connected.
Mhm.
If the way you described it, Lucretia, if the personal brand is how you want to be perceived, what are your values? Are you, like you said, the person that brings in the energy? Are you collaborative?
Mhm.
That to me can be someone's reputation, known for always being there. So I think they're linked.
Absolutely. I do think that they're linked. I do think that they're linked,
Hmm.
because your brand is, like we said, how you are perceived in someone's
Yes.
mind, but your reputation is like on a larger scale, maybe.
Hmm.
on a larger scale,
Hmm.
you being known for this thing more widely. People
Yeah,
share this, and this is the talk about you
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
a certain person or way.
Yeah, yeah. And for me, at least, I see in my experience, what you just described, I know when I talk about brands, I think of that broader known for as your zone of genius, right? So I think that part of that's why I say, and from where I sit, I think they're sort of linked. But yes, you're right. The reputation is broader scale.
Yeah.
And that is the larger part of your brand, what you're known for, your zone of genius. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was an excellent, excellent question. See, one of
Yeah,
our
very
LinkedIn
good.
friends,
Thank you.
they are listening and they are digesting this information. But it was an excellent, excellent question, because I often say too that, which ties to what you shared, Lucretia, when you're trying to drive that perception, right? When you're trying to make sure you write the narrative about who you are and
Yeah.
what you're about, or as this person shared, the connection reputation. I often say that who you're connected with, who's in your circle, is important too, because
Oh,
people tend to identify you with who
absolutely.
you are constantly seen with, or the type of
Absolutely.
individuals in your circle. So I will tell people, who comes with you can always go with you. You may,
Absolutely.
show up with a
Good
certain,
point.
yeah,
That's
group of
a really
people,
good point.
but as you grow and you're developing this personal brand, well, you may have to rethink, that circle.
Absolutely.
Have
Yeah.
you experienced that part as well? And when you were developing your brand?
Yeah. I think it's very important that you be careful about the company that you keep. I think having certain people in your circle, whether it is at work, other brands that you are
Yeah.
associated with, can harm or boost your reputation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Mhm.
Totally agree. So, what I was getting ready to get into before we got that great question from one of our LinkedIn viewers is, if you could, Lucretia, as we start to wrap up this session,
Mhm.
if you could give our audience maybe 3 to 5 steps. And, they're saying right now, okay, wow, I didn't think about this. Now I see, I've heard it before, didn't know it was so important. Now I get it from
Yeah.
listening to Linda and Lucretia. What
Yeah.
3 to 5 steps would you give them on how they can build their personal brand?
Yeah. The first step I would say is think about what you want your brand to be. So really think about it. Think about the impression that you want to make on others, and also think about maybe some of the impressions that you put out there that's not what you want
Mm,
to represent.
mhm,
So planning, if you will.
mhm, mhm,
So that would be the first step. It's really thinking that through. And then I would say the second step is to embody that, to start embodying
mm,
that, even if
yes.
you have done some things that might have brought
Mhm,
about a bad perception, you can always turn that around and start over tomorrow and just be consistent. Once you
yeah,
have this clarity with yourself and this level of honesty with yourself that, hey, this is what I want to be perceived as, but I'm not doing this, or I need to do
yes.
more of that. And just understand that you can start that tomorrow. So, planning what you want that to be, number one. And then number two, start tomorrow to embody that. Number three, I would say to communicate with your superiors as
Mm,
what it is that you are wanting to get out of the organization and what your goals are, right? I think that would be very critical. Step four, I would say, I'm going to go to I would say this would be a bonus step. This would be a bonus
okay,
step. But
okay.
understand that while we're on the topic of personal branding, people are out here attracting great opportunities using the power of social media to
Yeah,
build a personal brand. Because here's the thing, everybody is going to work. Everybody's going to work, but not everybody is going to work and then still demonstrating that passion that they have for the industry
Yes.
when they don't have to, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, Lucretia. Okay, look, I want to dig into that a little bit more. I'm so glad you mentioned it. Here's why. Because
Mhm.
I had my first experience with social media impact when ZF, which is a company I joined in January, recruited me last year and made the offer. I was I don't know why I was, but yeah, I know I do know why I was because they're a tier one auto supplier, right?
Mhm.
And I'm in the entrepreneurial career advisory business.
Yeah.
However, the
Mhm.
executive search firm and them watched me on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
followed me,
They love it.
followed me on, and
They
they
love it.
loved it.
They love it. They love
They
it. There's
loved
something
it.
about a person who is building a brand on LinkedIn. Like I said, everybody goes to work
Yes,
and does their job and maybe even do it well. But not everybody is doing that on their time.
yes. So
Mhm.
I'm so glad you.
Whether it is your own business
Yes,
that's not an extension of what you do full time, but maybe it is. You know, I see a lot of people that are in healthcare, recruiting, various different industries, and they
yes,
are leveraging LinkedIn to talk about their experiences, to share
yes,
information, you know,
yes.
all of those things. And I'm telling you, there are some people who don't even have to apply for jobs. There are people who are getting tapped for executive level positions, you know, because of their brand. And
There,
there's something
yes.
about a person who does that. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned it because I didn't want to close this session without talking about that
You
because
know, I
that's
had
your
to bring it into the mix. You
no,
know, I had
well,
to.
that's because that's your area of expertise, and I wanted you to bring it into the mix because I don't think everybody, we all, I think some people don't really understand fully, right,
Mhm.
the power of LinkedIn and the
Absolutely.
power of establishing your brand on LinkedIn. We tend to say, okay, social media, and we just, oh, Facebook, IG, TikTok,
Right.
but you know what I'm saying? There is so much power around that brand. And it blew me away. And then when I said, well, now that I know you've been following me, I have a business, and they were like, yeah, we absolutely love it. 100% supported, even put it in my offer letter that they fully
That's
support
so awesome. That is so
my,
awesome.
my business. They put in my offer letter, yeah, I see you're on a board. I
For
mean, they
you.
knew so much about me that they said, you know what? We need you to understand that we support all of that. And that if you go to a board meeting or if you're doing it, we fully support it. Continue to do that. And
Mhm.
if you don't mind,
I
hashtags,
love
shout
it.
us out,
Yeah.
hashtags be up.
And
So,
I love that. I love that for you. I love that for us because
yes,
I think employers should be like that.
yes, they
All of them
should.
should be like that because at the end of the day, it could boost your employer brand as well. This
Absolutely.
person who is bringing visibility to themselves and they are associated with your company,
Yeah,
it benefits you as well. So I
exactly.
love that for you.
Thank you so much. So please add a few other nuggets, just a couple. I don't want to, because I'm going to tell you guys, if you want to work with Lucretia to increase your brand presence on LinkedIn, you definitely want to connect with her, lucretiadavis.com, correct? Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes,
Davis.com. Yeah.
lucretiadavis.com. You can find us her website. Of course, she's on LinkedIn, and I would highly implore you to connect with her if you don't have a brand presence, because I'm telling you, this is one girl that will tell you it makes a difference. It makes a
It
difference.
makes a
So
difference. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, no. I was just going to ask when you're given these last few nuggets, if you could tell them maybe one or two things they should do on LinkedIn tomorrow that they might not be doing today. Go ahead.
Yeah. People overthink this building a brand on social media thing.
Yeah.
If you are a job seeker, you could literally be sharing your experiences, even if it's a rejection, even if you had a rejection and
Mm,
took it positively, even if you were excited about an interview opportunity that you had. It's just as simple as that. Don't think too deep into it that you have to be this great writer. We all write. We write emails, we write text messages, we all write, and we all communicate. So it's not as deep all the time.
Yes.
So, I've seen job seekers that have shared their journeys, and very quickly they are sharing a success story that they are now
Mm-hmm.
employed because somebody reached out and wanted to invest in them and help them,
Mm-hmm.
because they know they are aware, they are aware that this person needs help,
Yes.
and they are willing to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not that deep all the time. So you could even be a job seeker, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You could be someone, and I don't know if you want me to go into this direction, but it could start out as you just sharing, but it could also then morph into you getting speaking engagements, or some
Mm.
type of brand partnerships, and allow you to generate some extra cash
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it could go that direction as well. I've seen that. I know that for you. I've seen it happen for me. And I'm telling you, those of you, Lisa Medley joined us. Thanks, Lisa. She said she definitely overthinks. So she
Oh, I
related
know Lisa
to,
Medley. I've seen
yes,
her.
yes, Lisa Medley. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
she was my guest last week too, and I know you've seen her on social media.
yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you for sharing that, Lisa. But I think that's a critical point, Lucretia, that you made, and I'm so glad we connected the LinkedIn piece to the personal brand building and how companies truly do love that. They're
Mhm.
all over it, right?
Yeah.
And so I think we have not made that connection on a consistent basis in the past. So if you guys are listening to this live or on the replay, either one, if you are not doing that with LinkedIn, do it. I'm telling you, it'll make a world of difference. The company you're in right now will appreciate it. We'll see you in a different light. We'll learn more about you that they
Mhm.
probably are not learning. Or, like myself, get recruited away and get another wonderful opportunity. And they've
Yeah.
been watching you on LinkedIn.
I
So,
truly believe that every professional should use LinkedIn as a
yeah,
social media site.
yeah.
Yes, we can have fun on Instagram, TikTok, and the others,
Right.
but LinkedIn isn't as stuffy as it once was.
No,
And
it is not.
so it could be as simple as you just, you passed a certification,
Yes.
just things like that,
Yes.
just sharing, documenting,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But you also have to be mindful about the company you keep on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn as well. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about that earlier in the call, but
Yep.
you know, you have this little tab called activity where they can go to your activity and see the different things that you are engaging. So make sure that that is consistent with the brand
Oh, so,
out there as
so
well.
good.
Mhm.
So good, Lucretia, because
Yeah.
that's extremely important. And we
Mhm.
talked about way at the beginning of this session that your brand is how you want to be perceived.
Absolute. Yeah.
So if you're not making the right connections,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, all of
Mhm.
that's linked together. Linked together. I hope everybody is paying attention. I know we had another Yvonne joined us. Thank you, Yvonne. She said, I love all these great gems.
Oh,
So,
great.
definitely taking notes, everyone. It has been phenomenal. Oh, we got a question. See, I was just getting ready to wrap that. So, see, this is why 30 minutes just is not enough time.
I
So
know.
I know, Consuela asked, how do you know when it's time to rebrand? Oh, excellent question.
Yeah, that is a really good question.
Mm,
I would say, in general, my response to that question would be, it is time, if you are not attracting the opportunities that are in alignment with what you want now, what your goals are right now.
yeah, yes.
And that's just like a general response. It could go various different ways. It could go from, the type of jobs that are reaching out. You got recruiters reaching out. It could be the type of jobs that are reaching out to you. It could be,
Hmm.
it could boil down to that. So for sure, I think it would definitely be time to rebrand if, number one, you're not getting results that you want to get. You're not
Hmm.
attracting the audience that you want to attract. And then three, I mean, you know, when you are satisfied with what you're putting out there as well. So if you feel
Yeah.
like, you know, maybe my brand was this a couple of years ago, but now I wanted
Hmm.
something else,
Yes.
then you can definitely work towards rebranding for where you are right now.
Yeah. And I think
I've
that's so
rebranded
important.
various times. I've rebranded various times.
Yes, yes.
Woo!
Yes, I think it's so important too. Consuelo, that was a great question, and I'm glad we didn't
Was.
close the session before we shared that and addressed it, because I do believe that your personal brand isn't something that's written in stone. Some aspects of it may be, but to Lucretia's point, who you were 2 or 3 year, 5 year time. I know for me, shoot, girl, who I was maybe yesterday, I am not today. No, I'm
Oh,
kidding, but
I
but
mean, hey, it's not
hey, might be,
far
right?
fetched.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, not too. But my point was, I know for a fact who I was early in my career, way early. uh, I'm not that person anymore, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank goodness, because my personal brand changed. I rebranded and shifted, and the perception that I garnered and how people perceived me later on made the difference in my career. So excellent times that Lucretia gave you, Consuela, to really do some self-reflection. And you may say, you know what, yep, this is time for rebranding, because
Mhm.
now my vision of myself is this.
Yeah,
Now my zone of genius is this, is what
absolutely.
I want to be known for
Change, your
today.
goals change, your focus
Goals,
changes,
yes,
all of
yes,
that. We evolve as
yes,
people, you know, and I mean, it could be as simple as a character change as
yes,
well. You know, you want to
absolutely.
recreate that perception that you have in people that people have of you. And
Right. No, excellent question, Consuela.
yeah, that
This
was
has
great.
been, it wasn't it? I know we just got
It
a bunch of
was.
good
It's so
questions.
fast. Oh
I
my
know
gosh.
it goes way too fast. But
And we're
Lucretia,
over time too. That's
I know, but that's fine. I love being over, especially when we have such an engaged audience and we got these great questions flowing. Look, everyone, you enjoyed us live. Thank you so much for joining us live. I really appreciate your time. If you're catching this on the replay, either way, however you're seeing us, if you've got questions for Lucretia, lucretiadavis.com. You can find her on LinkedIn, obviously.
message me on
Uh,
LinkedIn too. Yeah.
yeah, please reach out and touch base with her. I know she'd be more than happy to work with you. Tawny put in here, would you believe that LinkedIn folks once sent me a certificate for being one of the first 800 members? She said, seriously,
Oh
I was this, yes.
my gosh.
She said, yes, look at that. She
Where's
was
my
able to,
certificate? I feel like I created a LinkedIn when I was in college and I just did it because I had to. We were in our career development course where we had to develop our resume and they made us create like a LinkedIn or what have you. And LinkedIn was nowhere near what it
no,
is right now.
no,
So I don't
for
know when
sure.
that was, but I'm like, where's my certificate? I feel like I've been on LinkedIn for ages. It's oh
I
my
know,
gosh.
I
I
know,
think
I
it's
know,
like
I do.
8
I know,
or
I do.
7.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Your personal brand will make a difference. It does matter. It will definitely impact your careers. Like
Absolutely.
it, or if you want to become an entrepreneur, anything you want to do in life,
Mhm.
it will make the difference. It will definitely make the difference. Thank you for joining me, Lucretia. It was such an honor. Such an honor.
Problem. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Until next time, everyone.